Hi everyone here in Helsinki and all of you online. A warm welcome to the technology launch of the century for precipitation networks. My name is Oona Andriasjan and I'm a marketing manager here at Vaisala. We are so excited to share with you what this is all about. But before that, I will welcome on stage our Executive Vice President, Jalkala, to do the honors.
Hello everyone, my name is Jalkala and I'm very, very happy to welcome you all to this launch event. Today I get to share what Vaisala engineers have been working on for years. You all know precipitation in some form, whether it's rain, snow or hail. And actually many of you know how difficult it is to measure precipitation accurately. In fact, precipitation has been undermeasured for over a century. The existing rain gauges and tipping buckets systematically measure too low. And in places where floods often begin, on high mountain slopes and hard-to-reach destinations, we simply do not have enough instruments. And yet, our flood predictions, our climate models, and our forecasts depend on this essential data. The brilliant meteorologists, hydrologists and scientists have had to find workarounds and use correction factors to deal with this persistent measurement problem. In essence, the whole weather community has had to work with rain instruments that do not catch it all. Until today. Let me share with you what Vaisala engineers have built.
When a flood warning comes too late or doesn't come at all, it's often because we didn't have the right data from the right place at the right time. Every forecast, every flood model depends on knowing how much rain hits the ground, and getting that right at scale remains one of the hardest problems in meteorology.
Precipitation is very local. The conditions can change completely from one street to the next. And that's why we need networks of sensors to capture all that accurately. But maintaining current networks is tough. Sensors clog, freeze and drift out of calibration. They need a lot of maintenance. But every service visit costs time and money, and every failure adds uncertainty.
We didn't set out to improve what existed, we built what was missing. A sensor that enables the next generation of precipitation networks, provides real-time precipitation information and stays accurate on its own, with no maintenance, no cleaning, no heating. The world's first truly maintenance-free precipitation sensor. We call it Vaisala RM60.
At the heart of RM60 lies PreciCap, which is a patented vertically pointing Doppler radar. And it does something that no other product in this category can. It detects hydrometeors one by one. So in addition to rain intensity and accumulation, it gives us the full characteristics of the precipitation event. And all this from a sensor that auto-calibrates itself, needs no windshields and runs on low power. We have been able to create a product that is truly disruptive.
For the first time, you can have a high-performance precipitation measurement at every station in your network, including the remote ones that nobody wants to visit. What that means in practice, you get denser networks, lower lifetime costs, and real-time data that actually makes your hydrological models better. We built RM60 so that every community can have the precipitation data it needs, not just where it's convenient to maintain, but everywhere it matters, so that when the next storm hits, the warning comes first, not the flood.
And now it's the time for you all to see the product for the first time in real life. Ladies and gentlemen, RM60. What an Easter egg. But now you're going to hear the story behind this sensor. And for that, we're going to welcome on stage the product manager, Mikko Krapu, who has been working on the product since the very beginning. Welcome on stage, Mikko, and please have a seat. I'm sure you're all curious to hear what this product is about. So now we're going to have a little talk show where Anne and Mikko will be discussing how we got here and why this technology matters. The stage is yours, Anne and Mikko.
Thank you, Oona. Mikko, it's great to have you here on stage to talk about this exciting technology. You have been working with RM60 from the very beginning, so you know the whole development journey. And I have to make a confession. I'm very new to meteorology, so I want to learn more about this. I know from the energy industry where I've worked that precipitation is actually very essential to energy operations for companies who have a hydro plant or have renewables in their portfolio. And now that I've started to visit met agencies, all of them seem to be talking about precipitation. And also how important and yet challenging the measurement of precipitation is today. What are you hearing on this, Mikko?
Let me set the stage. So in today's precipitation networks, precipitation is primarily measured with two technologies, two types of instruments, tipping buckets and weighing rain gauges. Both of them are essentially buckets that aim to catch the rain as it falls. And the difference is that the tipping bucket has a small spoon, a tipping mechanism, and it counts the tips to measure precipitation, whereas, weighing rain gauge, as the name suggests, bases the measurement on the weight of the precipitation that falls into the bucket. And these type of instruments have served the meteorological observations well and for a long time. But in the recent years, I'm hearing increasing frustration from the agencies. And the frustration is primarily about maintenance. So the agencies know where they have gaps in their observation networks. They know where they would like to place instruments, but they cannot do that right now because their service organization couldn't catch up with the increasing service needs of adding those stations.
So the current rain gauges and tipping buckets, they are hard to maintain. Tell me more about the maintenance needs.
They require cleaning, calibration. There's wear and tear of mechanical parts. And we have seen tipping buckets full of mud, full of leaves, even a bird nest.
Oh.
And these are silent failures. So in the data stream, a clogged tipping bucket looks exactly the same as a dry day. And I speak with the people responsible for these observation networks, and on a good day, they trust 70–80% of their precipitation stations data. But during extreme events, during storms, they trust much less. So there's the wind steals data. Freezing conditions are a challenge. One Nordic customer
even needs to get a helicopter to access some of their mountain sites during the winter time, just to replace the de-icing fluids in a weighing rain gauge.
So wind keeps stealing the data, leaves keep clocking, bird nests, evaporation, icing, whatever. By the way, this looks more like an egg rather than a bird nest. So the problems of the existing technologies, they are well understood, and plenty of smart people have been trying to find ways and used correction factors and many other technologies to try to solve this. What made you believe that Vaisala could build something to really solve this persistent problem?
Well, I believe Vaisala is in a unique position really to solve this problem. We are the leading weather radar manufacturer, so we have expertise on weather radar, signal processing, Doppler analysis, precipitation physics, all of that. And then in addition, we had before this one developed FD70 forward scatter sensor that analyzes precipitation on the individual hydrometeor level, but that's an optical instrument. So we knew that the best way to analyze precipitation is to do that hydrometeor by hydrometeor, raindrop by raindrop, as they fall. And really the how RM60 and the PreciCap technology were born is where these two paths cross, and we combine the single hydrometeor capability to a compact Doppler radar.
So compact miniature radar catching its single droplet before it falls. What was the hardest part in getting the technology right?
The development did require developing multiple novel technologies. So first of all, we needed to develop a narrow beam technology to get rid of the sensitivity to wind. Then we needed to develop a near field technology and take into use unique 61 gigahertz frequency to get the resolution to the individual hydrometeor level. We needed to develop auto-calibration feature to get rid of the need for manual maintenance visits. And the hard part, developing a genuinely new technology takes time. And it's a totally different thing to build one research prototype and get that to work somewhere than like field those around the globe, get them to work in all geographical locations, all kinds of climates and weather, and to make that suitable for volume production, so that the product number 10, product number 1,000, product number 10,000 coming from the production line, you always get the same consistent quality. And there are no tricks, no shortcuts. So you need to have the direction right, you need to have the right people, and after that, it's a lot of hard work.
Exactly, and probably a lot of field testing of this technology. And I know that we've been testing this actually in multiple precipitation locations across the globe. Tell me about the field test period. When was the time when you really knew that this technology is going to work?
So we have been testing, kind of field testing the technology more than 700,000 hours. So that's close to 90 years. So actually, close to the age of the company Vaisala of field tests, and we have had this running since 2020 in all kinds of locations in the tropics through multiple Nordic winters. So it really requires this kind of extensive field testing to fully validate the product. But the moment, the key moment for me was one pilot site in Western Europe on the Atlantic coast. It was November. We went there to install our RM60, and right after the installation, there was a named Atlantic storm that followed. The storm lasted 3 days with sustained wind speeds 14 meters per second, gusts more than 23 meters per second. And RM60 was there without any sort of protection, like wind protection. And throughout the storm, it measured perfectly the real-time intensity, accumulation, precipitation types, all of that. So we of course knew the physics. We knew that when we make the narrow beam like this, we get rid of the wind sensitivity and we can put the sensor to this kind of location. But that was the key moment for me when really the theory became reality.
So even the heavy wind didn't steal the data?
Not at all.
Okay. Great to hear. So what have you been hearing? We've also tested with this with the selected pilot customers, leading meteorology agencies. What has been the feedback from customers about RM60?
Yeah, the first reaction is like a genuine excitement. Excitement particularly on the maintenance part, or the total lack of the need for maintenance. One pilot customer called their service team just to double check that is it really sure that you have not done any sort of maintenance, not even cleaning to this one, no calibration, nothing. And they confirmed, no, we haven't touched it during this period. Then the second reaction, and this was my favorite, because these are professionals who have been measuring precipitation for decades, so they know how hard that is. So then they look at the sensor, they look at the data, and they comment, hey, this looks too good to be true. Where's the catch? Then comes the third reaction, and that one kind of confirms me that we have built the right thing. Then they start asking that when can I get more devices to extend the testing. There was one agency I just spoke with wanted to extend the testing, like a co-located testing at 6 sites.
That sounds exciting. So I guess the catch is in the technology that we are able to catch the single droplet before it falls, and that's pretty amazing.
Absolutely, yeah.
So let's talk a bit about this, what this means in practice. Say if I'm running a national precipitation network with, let's say, 200 tipping buckets today, what does the path forward look like with this new technology?
Well, I would start by installing this one to those remote locations, like those mountain slopes, where I know I have gaps in the observation network, where I know I need data, but I currently don't have that. So I would start there. Then I would also start replacing those unshielded tipping buckets, where I know I get inconsistent data. And in addition, I would place a few, like co-locate a few on those high-end synoptic stations to get the parallel data sets over the seasons.
Exactly. So start building the kind of more dense precipitation networks that the world actually needs. This seems to be very kind of also scientifically known problem that we do not simply have enough precipitation instruments out there. Let's think about the future, Mikko. Let's envision 5 to 10 years from now. What do you think that RM60 enables and makes possible that was not possible before?
Yeah, precipitation is very local, and it's currently under-measured. And that has been due to the limitations in the technology. And at the same time, there are 2 recent developments, changes taking place at the same time. So there are more and more extreme weather events, more and more intense heavy rains. And at the same time, the AI-based forecasts are becoming a new standard. And those need like a comprehensive ground truth data to train the models, to validate models. And you need the data everywhere, not just from those easy locations. So now finally you can put the sensors also there. So in 5 to 10 years, I want every precipitation network in the world to have that sensor coverage it needs to capture that precipitation ground truth, and then feed into those finally those timely and accurate flood warnings for everyone and many other use cases.
Exactly. So in that case, when we have the dense enough networks, we would actually get the flood warnings on time for the communities to prepare for. And it seems that this technology kind of sits at the intersection of two big mega trends. AI-based weather forecasting needs precisely dense observation networks, and at the same time the more and more extreme weather, we also need the observation networks to really capture when the storm is coming. So it seems that we have with RM60 an opportunity to build the type of observation networks that did not exist before, and very easy to get excited about this type of technology. Thank you, Mikko. We started the conversation with a leaf-clogged tipping bucket and ended with a generation of forecasts and enabling flood warnings everywhere for everyone who needs. That's not bad for 20 minutes talk show. So if any of this sounded familiar, you know exactly where to find us, and be prepared and bring us your toughest precipitation problem, and we are here to solve it. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Anne and Mikko, for the great discussion. Now it's time to wrap up the big revelation, but this is just the beginning for the future of precipitation measurements. If you want to learn more, please join us in our upcoming webinar on June 2nd to learn more about the future of precipitation networks and forecasts. You can also visit vaisala.com/RM60 for more information, or contact your local Vaisala representative to test it yourself. Thank you again for joining us in taking every measure for precipitation, and have a great rest of the day or evening, depending where you are. Bye.